All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. Going to take a look at its, high intent Google searches that boudoir buyers are searching. See if it has BSS and see if we're meeting the GBC recommended minimum of hitting 3 out of 10 page one Google slots. So we're back in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. More about that, pinned video, home video, somewhere on this profile. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So if a boudoir photography business is rising, we're probably bringing in everyone across the entire intent spectrum here. High intent on the left to low intent on the right. And, if a boudoir photography business is falling, most likely we're missing chunks of people that we're not bringing in through this boudoir, somewhere in this intent spectrum. So over on the left, we got the highest intent peeps. So we're talking about BSS here. Get to that in a little bit. And highest intent peeps, they're searching for boudoir photo shoot right now in their city on social media, social search, or on Google search. And we're over on the other end on the right, we got our sister brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. We're talking about BLCS, and that's getting in front of the lowest intent people in our city, which is actually the highest volume of people. But with that brand, we currently only work with the boudoir photographers running around 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. All right, now on to BSS, boudoir search sameness. This one, a boudoir photographer has 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 slots, we're on page 2 or deeper. I mean, we're dead right off the bat, man. Because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They are page 1 search only. So approximately 80% of searches, I mean, dude, that's literally the bulk of the market. This is who we're focused on. This is who we care about. And that's page 1 only for them. And 1 slot on page 1, that still ain't good enough because there's 10 organic slots on page 1. If 9 are other boudoir photographers, that means a buyer, potential buyer, is simply going to be, click and open everyone's link, everyone's website, blah, 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 blah. And actually, getting price quotes from everyone, price shopping everyone, price comparing everyone. Probably won't even remember who they reached out to. So there'll be so many people. Page 1 only, though. So we're assuming the bulk, that we're only focused on the 80% here, approximately 80%. That are page 1 only peeps. Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal. It's a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So yeah, basically everyone knows about market saturation. Someone gets a new iPhone and they throw out their Google My Business profile that they are now a boudoir photographer. They got their boudoir photography website, competing with us to rank on page 1. Okay, cool. Also, someone gets a new camera. They're competing with us to, now they're posting in the mom groups on Facebook saying they offer boudoir as well. And so market saturation, market always gets more and more saturated. Markets always get more and more saturated over time. And we saw, big market saturation when COVID hit. People lost their jobs, couldn't work, still needed to earn money though. And everyone's got a great camera attached to their phone. That's when a ton of boudoir photographers hopped in, making the market more and more saturated. Now, the false belief of page 1 inequality, this one basically nobody knows about because the implicit belief of page 1 equality, which is false, was kind of just, accepting that, or kind of implicitly agreeing without even thinking about it, that, yeah, every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1. And if I lose, if I was on page 1, but then I got knocked off by new boudoir photographer with their website, well, that's what happens. And, I've seen that this is the number one, from what I've seen, this is the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. It's simply accepting this as, assuming it's normal. It's not normal. It's not normal to have this few number of slots on page 1 of Google. It's not normal to, be knocked off page 1 and just lie there like that. Google actually will give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want to take with our effort. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 on Google in 10 days by using this new method I've developed. And so the false belief of page 1 equality, or aka falsely believing that there's nothing we can do to hop back up on page 1 from page 2, has been, from what I've seen, the number one killer of boudoir photography businesses. Because now we know approximately 80% of searches will never even see you if you're on page 2. And we also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So we're building up our universe here on the left side. Our micro universe, we got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by the two horns of market saturation and page one, the false belief of page one equality, which makes people believe nothing's possible, nothing can help them, but it's kind of a box that they're stuck in. But they break through the box, they punch through the box, they can see outside and they see, oh, there is a solution. Because finally, we did find a solution because we invented it. Discovered that BSS Boudoir search sameness is treated with social search saturation, aka our S cubed methodology. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We saturate social search for the highest intent keywords that boudoir buyers are searching right now to buy a boudoir photo shoot in our city. Highest intent, closest to the money, easiest to convert, highest conversion rates. And the interesting thing about S-cubed methodology is this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully outcompete a saturated market, and it can work relatively quickly. Obviously, the one other solution would be brand, having a brand, but dude, that takes like minimum 5 years or 10 years to get. We ain't got that time anymore. AI is taking more people's jobs. We need maximum page one on Google now. So, how does SQ methodology successfully overcome and still grow a business with massive market saturation of boudoir photographers entering the market? So, let's say we got a million boudoir photographers, and we're in Austin, Texas. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they're a boudoir photographer, and everyone's trying to rank page one on Google, because that is still where approximately 90% of searches go. And we decided to max out S-cubed methodology. So we're ranking for the highest buyer intent keywords across social search, so across all the social networks. Let's say we're taking like the first 300 slots, and as a result, we are these are kind of the small streams, the small rivers off the backside of the Andes that then flow into the Amazon River, big Amazon River, which is page one on Google. So we're also taking the first 300 slots page one on Google. Well, first 300 slots on Google, 10 organic slots per page on Google. That'd be the first 30 pages. We're taking them all up. And so anytime a buyer searches for a boudoir photographer in Austin, anywhere on social or on Google, basically on Google, I gotta go to page like 31 to essentially see any of our competitors. And we already know approximately 80% of searches never even hit page two. They're page one only searches. So basically no one's gone to page 31. And so in this case, even if there's a million boudoir photographers, whose boudoir photography business is growing? Ours. Well, actually maxed out S-cubed methodology. We took over all this social search. We saturated it, and as a result, saturated Google search as well on Google page one. So, and this thing works way faster than building a brand. And also, S-cubed methodology is the fastest way to build a brand. It helps to build a brand, cuts down the time on building a brand. So it's like extra benefit, long-term benefit with that. Now, once we treat BSS with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. So an initial benefit of this is we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. Now, this is awesome because this happens instantly. For every slot we take on page one on Google, we're kicking another boudoir photographer off and essentially making them invisible because we know that, and approximately 80% of Google searches never even reach page two. They stay they're page one only searches. So, we're essentially making an entire competitor disappear. So this is like an initial bonus that we get right ASAP, along with our slots on page one that we get. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. And with this, we actually want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page one. And when we do that, we want to hit recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 because basically all the other boudoir photographers will, they'll have 1 out of 10 if they're even on page one. And so our 3 versus their 1, we're going to look amazing. Kind of subconsciously, buyers are going to say, oh, why does Google keep recommending this person over and over and over? Maybe they'll only click on our 3 links and not even look at any of our competitors. Who knows? There's also the very, very small chance someone may have 2 slots on page one. So, do 3 slots, basically dominating everyone, no matter who's on page one. And that's boudoir search visibility. And we also know that boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer VBP. So we got our micro universe here, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, caused by the twin horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, we now have a solution. SQ'd methodology works way faster than 5 to 10 years to build a brand. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. All right, now my results using basically, so my results using SQ'd methodology. I want to rank for the keyword term BLCS boudoir. I want to rank as much as I could page one on Google. So go here to the invisible slots, or the organic slots. We got slot one here, me. Slot two here, me. Slot three here, me. Slot four here, TikTok, me. Slot five here, me. Slot six, me. Slot seven, me. Slot eight, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page one to 9 out of 10 slots on page one. And we actually did this all with S-cubed methodology, pure S-cubed. We did not, in 10 days. So, okay, I know these are results I got. Now into the main event here. Going to see this boudoir photography business, see how the search is looking for their local and city search. Actually, they're both in this case. So if we got BSS, yes or no. So if we're in the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10 slots paid on Google, or let's hit it, Bellingham, Washington. All right, so let's see what we got. Let's see. All right, so we do got one. Boom, we got one. All right, we got one. So we got 1 out of 10. And city's always the hardest one to rank for. So we got 1 out of 10, that's good. But we got BSS, we got boudoir search sameness. We also got, we're not hitting the GBC recommended amount of 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've done your local search or city search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and you're seeing for any of those, local or city or any of the keywords, you got BSS, or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search, and you actually you're looking at all the highest intent keywords, and you're seeing that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. You're seeing Google actually give us as many page one slots on Google search as we want. And you're seeing that S-cubed methodology is the only solution forward, the only solution to have enough links where there's enough flow through to Google to actually put us on page one. And you understand the market saturation. Yeah, people get new gear, market becomes more saturated. And you're also seeing that you're looking ahead to AI. And while you like the initial benefits S-cubed methodology, more links page one Google search, more, basically more kicking other boudoir photographers off page one. Google search is actually your favorite. You're competing with boudoir photographers, but you're looking at AI taking people's jobs right now. You know it's going to get better, so it's simply going to take more and more people's jobs into the future. And as a result, you're actually going to, a new flood of boudoir photographers going to be entering the marketplace. So you actually realize you not only need the links, dude, you actually need to fortify your position on page one. Literally like fortifying the levees down in Nolens, Louisiana, because that city's below sea level. You got to have so many links on page one, so many links Google wants to rank for you on page one that there's not enough slots, so they relegate you to start filling up pages 2, 3, and 4 to basically guarantee no other competing boudoir photographer currently can essentially ever rank on page one, nor any any future competing boudoir photographer who comes into the marketplace because they took their job basically ever has a chance to rank on page one either. So you want to prevent both those scenarios. And you're seeing again, SQ methodology is the only solution that can give that many links to super fortify you. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. And you do not, and you need these things in order to become, on your path to become the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're liking the future benefits of SQ methodology because you understand it well. Basically building these invisible thematic keyword columns. Having the back end back in cyberspace, these columns that are plugged in to the kind of this, this cloud of you, your business name, your brands, your social handles, your website, everything kind of about your business, plugging in these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of building up this back-end AI keyword mindshare that's invisible. And every day we successfully execute SQ methodology and build this up, we're actually increasing the probability we're going to show up here at the top of AI overview for search in our city. And as a result, this is the highest, the highest probability, the most premium placement, the highest tier placement we got here, and cannot pay for it. It's all organic. And SQ methodology, highest probability of giving us this. And also, that same probability recommended here, increase in probability that we show up in all the AI search apps. So, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. We're increasing the probability we show up in all of these. And this is important because AI search is getting bigger every single day. Every single day, every single day, every single day. And standard Google search decreasing every single day. And last time I did an AI search for Boudoir photographer in a city, I used ChatGPT. It recommended me 3. I actually then went to do a manual search in that city with Google standard search and searching on Facebook. And dude, I found like 60. It's like, man, we got to find any way to get, recommended these AI searches if there's only 3 slots available, because that's so many eyeballs for us. And again, SQ methodology is the only strategy that is given these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of building it up in the back end. So you're liking these feature benefits. You're also liking the feature benefit of SQ methodology can help build a large, well-known brand approximately 8x faster than all the other standard methods out there. You also understand and like that my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer per city. And as a result, you're actually able to get all these benefits and kick your competitors off and prevent them from using these benefits at all. And you're basically able to kind of build up a kind of a moat, kind of a large gap with the back-end AI keyword mindshare that we're going to be doing to be recommended these AI apps higher and higher and higher probability out into the future. And building up a massive gap to where basically your competitors, the gap could be big enough where they could never catch you. So that's why you decided to be first mover advantage in your city, can hop on this first, because you understand the converse. If one of your boudoir photographers competitors actually signed up to use this first, then you'd be locked out of this. They'd be getting all these slots page 1 Google search, kicking you off page 1 Google search, and then it'd be relegated to page 2 or deeper. You would be building up that massive AI mindshare for them and their brand, and you'd be stuck in the dust. We're building up a massive gap, larger and larger every single day against you to be recommended AI search. And as a result, in order for you to compete, you would actually have to rederive SQ methodology on your own, which means you'd actually have to drive it first in the first place. And since you've never derived it before, you would actually have no idea if you've derived it correctly, yes or no. But then you'd have to execute equal to us every single day. And even if you did all that, well, all you've done is you're maintaining the gap that me and your competitor already have ahead of you. So to close on that gap, you'd actually have to increase your effort and do like 2 to 3x what we do every single day to close that gap. But you're not even confident you've derived the technology, the strategy correctly in the first place. So probably wouldn't even feel confident putting in that much time and effort to do all these things. And like, dude, who's even got 80 hours to do all this stuff? So you're like, yeah, you've decided, yeah, you're simply gonna be the first mover here and not wait, because this is too good of an opportunity to pass up. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our hospital is currently closed for new patient intake, but when we do open the hospital back up again for new patient intake, shoot us a DM and we will see if you qualify to utilize our S-cubed methodology.